All right.
No, but I did buy it because it's just sick. Like, it's just it's the original crest or logo from like 1950, whatever. Like, it's just different. And then I was hanging out with John and Michael's boy from Dylan's wedding, Tom Hayes, yesterday. We
the Crasher.
We did a little boys' day. He brought his son down, and we just kind of biked around points and beers and some boardwalk. But we were talking about Oktoberfest, and he was saying how people say that Oktoberfest is too commercialized, and because your own lederhosen, you're supposed to like build it over the years, I guess, like accumulate things and whatever. And so I decided, because it is my number one bucket list thing, Oktoberfest. I'm not even buying later. I'm going to wear lederhosen, but no plaid shirt. I'm just going to wear that jersey under the leather, and just see how that goes.
Dylan and I.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, they wore that jersey just so they could get a tie against top of the table Bayer Leverkusen.
Great game though. I had a fun time watching it.
Dylan and I had a boys' day too. The only thing I'll say is, statistic of the pod, we pulled in at like 11 to the garage under his apartment, and when you check out of a garage, it'll show how long the car was in there. It was like 10 hours and 32 minutes of pretty much just watching sports all of Saturday.
We didn't leave the patio.
And betting poorly on my part. All
Nick,
right.
okay?
I had a great betting day.
That was bad.
I'm definitely the old man in the pod. I dropped a pen, I reached down to grab it, and I got like a dead arm. My arm locked up. My shoulder's in a lot of fucking pain right now.
Shit.
It feels like I just pitched 100 pitches right now.
Just like United falling apart.
Yeah, but we've known mine. Actually, yeah, we've known these for years, both of them.
The NAFTAA Podcast.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
NAFTAA Podcast, we are back recording on a Monday afternoon, trying to get this done before a Browns Monday night football game. You don't hear that too often. Full crew is in the building. Michael, myself, Dylan, Nick, the boys are all here. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to go over. Big game today. Probably not for anyone else, but big for us just because I will say 3 people on the pod went 9-1 this weekend. And guess what? The 4th person went 8-2. We know ball. We're going to talk about some fly-through games. We are going to talk about every game that ended 3-1. And then we're going to talk about the game of the week, which I'm sure there will be some fireworks attached to that, Man United and Brighton. But first, Dylan and I had a fun weekend together. We did a lot of college football watching, a lot of let's go Brentford, or come on Brentford, come on Brentford, come on Brentford. Michael, you worked this weekend? What was going on?
I worked all weekend.
Man, that stinks.
I need to work this weekend because I want to watch Ohio State Notre Dame.
True. Ohio State Notre Dame party at my apartment. If you know where I live, roll on up. 4:00 start. We'll be out there all night. Nick, did you guys just get rained out all weekend? Did you have any games? What was going on in your world?
No, it was actually a beautiful weekend. We gave them the weekend off. We don't play until Wednesday. But yeah, we got rained out. Actually, it's beautiful out now. But no. Saturday, we had some, Caroline decided to have some spontaneous LASIK eye surgery, so that was Saturday.
Great pictures of Caroline that came through the group chat.
Didn't even know that we won, or she won. And then, Sunday's had a boys' day Sunday. Your boy, as I said before, Tom Hayes brought his 2-year-old son down. We rode some bikes, hit a brewery, played some boardwalk games, had some ice cream,
Nice.
Typical stuff, but yeah.
A regular Nucky Thompson weekend. Love that. Dylan, we had a great time. The patio may be the best patio in Hoboken.
Except for our neighbors, they also have it. But yeah, it's a good setup.
But I think your angle to see the cities better, there was a lot of patio envy going on in the courtyard that, like, there were dads that obviously had two-year-olds or 3 5-year-olds, whatever. We're just staring at us, crushing beer.
I know we're a soccer podcast, but I think we met the coolest, like, very cool guy, but maybe the most insufferable guy in the place of an Ohio State undergrad and Georgia post-grad.
Oh.
Yeah, not knowing who to root for in the semifinals last year.
Not just post-grad, law school. That's even worse. The only thing that would be worse, honestly, is Alabama undergrad, Notre Dame grad school, or just throw Michigan in the mix. I think Michael and I might agree on that one. But he talked to us. He's from somewhere in the middle of Ohio, not Mansfield, I think. And as soon as he left, I did look at everyone, very self-aware, pat myself on the back here on this one. I did say, man, what a terrible combination of sport fan, especially for a bunch of Penn State people that were there. So, big weekend nonetheless. All right.
Can I ask one question real quick?
Yeah.
When are you guys getting Penn State groupie T-shirts?
Well, I lost a bet, so I have to bet on them every week. So that's the unfortunate part.
No, I don't think it's a Penn State groupie T-shirt, Nick.
We're just married into the game.
I was just gonna say, I know that you have one too. You might as well just put this up at the camera. That's all it is. We're all married. We're married into the cult. So,
I
that's
mean,
our
Nick, if you're worried, Delaware bounced back with a 35-point drumming of St. Francis, Pennsylvania. So, like, when we get back to 1AA, we're shooting on all cylinders.
They still have a football program. I thought they got rid of it.
Not anymore. We eviscerated them.
No, you're thinking of St. Francis, New York, which is just a block up the road.
I'm pretty sure I had a friend that went to the Pennsylvania one, and they got rid of it.
Oh, well, they're back and getting their ass kicked by Delaware. Go Blue Hens. Cock-a-doodle-doo, as one would say. All right, a ton to get into. Let's start it off with where we're always going to start it off moving forward, our Dudes of the Week. Nick, we got the order going today. Nick, Dylan, Michael, myself, Snake drafted up. 3 Dudes of the Week. Let's get it started. Nick, you're on the clock.
Richarlison. We give that dude so much stick, and the dude got his moment. He got his moment, and he didn't get a yellow card. Good for him. And you know what? Good for him.
First Premier League goal, I'm pretty sure. And also, first time he put a ball in the back of the net with no yellow card. Big shout out to Richarlison.
Well, you saw what happened during the international break with him, right?
Yeah. Also, shout out to him for being mentally aware of his mental health. For sure.
Big guy.
Dylan, roll with it.
Good thing I'd planned 4 or 5 people for when we do this thing. I have a theme this week, and we will start with Norberto Neto standing on his head against Chelsea, keeping Bournemouth in the game, getting on that point.
Love it. Love it, love it. Michael.
I'm going to go with a longtime pod favorite, but sometimes, or actually most of the time, does not find the field. Tariq Lamptey. 2 assists this week against Manchester United. Player of the match. Round of applause.
Don't call it a comeback. Tariq Lamptey. Haven't heard that name in a minute. I'm going to go double Belgian. Just because my sister is right now in Brussels. Shout out to Caroline. She doesn't get many shout outs on here. First one's going to be not very well known. Dodi Lukebakio. Lone goal for Sevilla. First points of the season. God help them. They're still pretty bad. Beat Las Palmas 1-0 at the weekend. And then the one that really matters. I don't know if everyone watched the Man City game. I certainly did. I know we went down 1 goal. But if you noticed a winger just running at people and attacking the box, Jeremy Doku. I think he's going to be a problem. That's something we might talk about a little bit later. But shout out to the 3-2-3-2 that Man City now runs. Jeremy Doku, my second round man of the week, dude of the week.
When you were describing someone running at defense, I thought you were just saying Matheus Nunes to get at me.
No. Also not Belgian, but
I know,
we'll keep
him on
it
toes.
pushing. Yeah, we'll keep it pushing. Michael.
from one winger to another, arguably the best winger in the Premier League, Mo Salah, should have had a hat-trick of assists this week. But own goal on the Harvey Elliott, but he's absolute playmaker. I think he's like contributed in like 12 or like 11 straight Premier League games. It's a pretty crazy stat.
Damn, I thought you were going to say Jack Grealish, and I had to tell you he didn't play. Dylan.
I know. Trust me, I know.
I thought he was about to steal my person. My next is the best first half winger in the Premier League. I will be taking first half Pedro Neto. Played fantastic. If we had more of an athletic striker who decided to just mistime his jump completely, we would have been up 2-0, and it'd be a completely different game that we'll talk about later. But Pedro Neto has looked very good to start the year, so we'll probably get $40 million for him.
If there's ever a time for a soccer player to wear a cup, it was on that Pedro Neto cross, just to get a little bit more oomph in there. But I do love breaking him out as just the first half Neto. That's amazing.
He may have disappeared in the second.
Yeah. Nick, you're back-to-back to end the second round and start our third.
The second round is one thing. It is the Spurs fans and Harry Kane, addition by subtraction. You have great Spurs coming out, and Harry Kane's probably going to go win himself a title finally. So good for Spurs, good for Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And to kick off the third round, somehow this man made no appearance in the group chat, no anger from Michael Whitaker whatsoever. Paul Tierney was the VAR ref of Wolves-Liverpool and did not have a negative statement come out of Michael's mouth. So, good for you, Paul Tierney. You get dude of the week.
Comeback trail. Michael, turn over a new leaf. Acceptance. Forgiveness, maybe.
No, VAR is still dog shit this week, so...
True. Dylan, who you got in your final round?
So I couldn't find another person named Neto, so unfortunately it ends here. I was going to go... I have an honorable mention if this person doesn't get picked, but I'm going to go with Victor Boniface, that I know I didn't say right at all, but if you watched the Bayern Leverkusen game, that's the type of striker I need on the Wolves. He was all over the place, dominating Bayern, like just bullying people to get shots off. Didn't hit net at all, but like that's why I think he'd be perfect for us. So I'm gonna start the recruitment now.
Yeah.
It's Beard Fassé.
Is that
That's
actually it?
That's a deep Scrubs reference if anybody gets it.
Never watched it. Dylan, unfortunately for you and Hank, if Beto would have scored, that would have been a nice little third
I know.
person.
I was hoping he'd have a good game so I could add him into the list, to be honest.
Absolutely. Michael, last pick.
Dylan, I'm shocked that this person wasn't on your list as he delivered us a plus 12-18 parlay win. Leandro Trossard scoring the goal for Arsenal to beat Everton.
That's a good idea.
Got to cash that one out. So
Did you tail? I didn't know you tailed.
Yeah, it says it notifies you when I tail because I did it in the betting group.
I know that, but I don't know, there was a lot going on. I guess I missed it. I'm happy. Good for us. Good weekend for us.
Can you send that link again? I gotta join there.
Yeah.
Oh, because you're realizing that, like, I mean, only because we have this now, like, outside of what I say on this podcast, like, Michael and John attest, I won, like, probably 15 bets on Saturday. Like, it was a very lucrative day.
Yeah, I love that the only time I decided to jump 2 feet in was a Georgia Bulldogs drubbing where I was on the Gamecock side of it and like one other thing and just got it totally wrong. So bad weekend for me, good weekend for Dylan. You guys had a lot of the spice and the flair. I'm going to keep it very consistent and just say, welcome back, Pep Guardiola, the greatest innovator of all time, the greatest manager of all time in all of soccer and all of football. Back on the sideline. There's a difference between injured and hurt. He obviously was injured, had to go get surgery. And he had the team win both games he was out, and then just totally was the difference maker for that 3-1 comeback win against West Ham. Greatest coach of all time. Shout out to Pep Guardiola. Welcome back. So, dudes of the week. Any pushback on that last one, guys? Good faces.
No, really happy for you.
I just don't care.
I just don't care.
Cool. What is life?
Depends on who you are.
Yeah.
Put it that way. All right. We got a lot to get into. Like I said, we're going to break it down a little bit differently today. There were 3 games that ended 3-1 that had very similar storylines, kind of. But first, let's fly through some of the quick hitters that we have lined up. Fulham 1, Luton Town 0. Vinicius with the lone goal for the Cottagers in the 65th minute. 3 points for Fulham. Keeps the trend going that bullying is okay when you're betting in soccer. Always go against Luton Town. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Sheffield United 1. Sheffield looked like they were going to get some points in this one. Hammer with the goal in the 73rd. But as aforementioned, Richarlison and Kulusevski with goals in the 90th +8, 90th +10 to get the dub for Tottenham. This is probably one we should spend more time on, but whatever. Nick almost with a bold prediction correct on this one, I will say. I think one of his is that 2 goals will happen 100 minutes into a game. But just a big win for Tottenham and still anging. Newcastle 1, Brentford 0. Callum Wilson with the lone goal in this one on a pen in the 64th minute, but wasn't without some drama. Dylan and I watched this one on bated breath just to make sure that we got our dubs in a row for that one. Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 0. We don't talk about them. Chelsea going to Chelsea. Everton 0, Arsenal 1. Leandro Trossard with the lone goal in this one to give the Gunners all 3 points. The first time they've won in Goodison in a long-ass time, as per Hank and Dylan, who told me that. Nottingham Forest 1, Burnley 1. Wraps us up on the quick ones. Hudson-Odoi got the goal for Nottingham Forest, but Amduani, Michael, you want to say his name?
For who? For who?
For Burnley? Amduani?
Oh, Amduani. I think you're right.
Okay, cool. Love it. He got the goal in the 41st. Hudson-Odoi, first goal for Forest in the 61st. Big game for us. Amdouni. Thank you. Amdouni. If Forest would have won, Michael would have went 10-0. If Burnley would have won, I would have went 10-0. Unfortunately, neither one got that, so Nick could go 9-1. Guys,
allowed to be happy.
Yeah. Well, fucking sick week by us, so I do have to say, pat ourselves on the back. Let's start where we're gonna start, which is Fulham and Luton. Fulham's just better than Luton. Luton's just bad. I think that's all we gotta say.
Did you watch this game?
Yes. Luton's still bad, Dylan.
They are. I would say if I'm a Fulham fan, though, and I know, I have these same issues, they also don't know how to score. It's a problem. And Luton almost scored twice off of the count. I don't know. Just something to look out for. We don't have to say much on this, but that's just something to throw out there.
Fulham currently sitting 10th. I don't think anyone on this pod thinks that's going to hold. We do think that they're pretty not great, not as good as they were last year. Michael, anything on this one?
I don't know where to place Fulham currently. I think that I don't think that they're going to get relegated anymore because I think Silva's a good enough coach. They got good enough people there, and I think there are just worse teams. But every time I have to pick them, for a game, I'm really unsure about what team is going to show up.
Yeah. I think they got Palace this week. Is that right?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. That's I saw that one to lead it off, and I was like, damn, this sucks. Nick, anything on Fulham? Luton?
No, I agree with Michael. Fulham's really annoying to try to figure out right now.
Yeah. Love it. All right, let's hold off on Tottenham. We'll do that one last in this crew. Newcastle 1, Brentford 0. I think when we broke last pod, we kind of said this was must-win for Newcastle, as crazy as that sounds, but just a confidence win. Brentford's not a bad team. They still are without Ivan Toney. Nick, how you feeling? Are we confident in Newcastle? Did they just have a tough start?
I am a little nervous for their scoring record. They're starting off where they left off last year, so it's if you can't score. I mean, give Brentford credit; they're off to a good start, but I don't think Newcastle has the same bite that they had last year. I think that there's an era of conserving energy a little bit now, because they got Champions League coming up and things like that. But like I said, I think it's best for I don't think they're going to advance out of the group stage. So that will end up being a good thing for them in the long run. But they're going to be a team that they defend. So they're always going to have a chance.
Yeah, for sure. Michael, I know that you have been somewhat flirtatious with Newcastle as like a second, third, fourth favorite team. What are your thoughts on Isak not playing? What are your thoughts on Miggy not being in the starting rotation? Is Harvey Barnes and Gordon and Callum Wilson better than the aforementioned two?
So I think there's like a link this week that Barcelona or somebody wants Isak. He only has one goal to start the year as like the main guy. I think Callum Wilson is just kind of a goal scorer, but like long term, that's not the guy. I think Isak is still like really good. I think Almiron is. I think his honeymoon period is over. I think Harvey Barnes is better than him. I hate to say I think Anthony Gordon's probably better than him too. I still think they could probably get better options on the wing for sure. But I think their defense, when they show up and like when they're at their peak, they're really good. I'm not sold on Nick Pope. I'm not sold on them being able to compete with like the top teams consistently.
Yeah. Tonali didn't play. Isak didn't play. I think Dylan and I were looking at that while we were watching this game because it was 0-0 for a while, and we kind of wanted to put a live bet on Newcastle if those two guys came in. Dylan, any thoughts on the road ahead for Newcastle, or does this make Brentford any clearer?
Well, one, do you think that all of them didn't play because they're so excited for Champions League that they thought they could handle Brentford and could do rotation at this point? Just saying.
Man, I think that's Brentford. I think has earned the respect for you not to do that.
I agree. If it wasn't their first time back in the Champions League in forever long, to make sure they have a good showing against AC Milan.
True.
I don't know.
I also say no Joe Linton either.
Yeah. But he's not even on the bench. I wasn't sure if he was hurt. He doesn't look like he's injured on here, so I wasn't sure. But
Yeah, I don't know either.
Odd. Newcastle, big dub. They're going to play AC Milan, like Dylan just mentioned. Big week. I'm pumped for Champions League midweek. A lot of good games this week. A lot of good games. 0-0, Bournemouth, Chelsea. We don't normally talk about this. Does anybody have anything to add?
Do we want to do... I have one question I wanted to ask this week. Do we want to do it now to fill this space, or do we want to wait till after the United game?
Is
go ahead
it
and
about
ask it
Chelsea?
now.
Yeah. And this is very serious. Who's worse, United or Chelsea? Are they the same, or are they in different places in terms of how you see it? I want
Nick,
your very honest opinion.
We laughed at you for thinking where to put this, but you're actually pretty spot on. Why don't we hold on to this till we talk about United?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. I will say this, though. If you want to keep up with the Chelsea injuries and want to be on top of that, go follow London is Blue podcast. 60% of their content now is just bitching about how many injuries that Chelsea is going through. Like any other team doesn't have injuries. That's totally fine. Everton 0, Arsenal 1. That'll get clipped. Everton 0, Arsenal 1. Trossard with a lone goal here. Love to see it on my fantasy team.
Should they have had 2 goals? VAR decision, potentially.
He was offside.
With Nketiah's heel as he's jogging back.
He was off. Like he was for
Yeah.
sure offsides. But wasn't it played by an Everton? I didn't get to see this like live. I was at work, but I thought it was played by an Everton player.
No.
No, so it was correct.
It was
Yes.
offsides.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say, because I've heard this on a few things too, and I kind of agree with it, and I don't think any of you guys will disagree, is the way Deitch plays, like coaches at this point and sets his team up, I think the Premier League's gone past him at this point, and like...
Dude, you're like 5 years behind with that.
No. Okay.
Bro.
Okay,
but talk about cold takes.
This is a recycled Michael take from last year.
And the year before that.
I've been saying it forever.
Wait, I love that Dylan just brought in, is Deitch bad? People are asking. Question. Yeah, dude. I don't think Everton's good. We always get a Hank check on this one. Did he just say, "Hey, I've given up this year"? Is he not going to watch? Do you think?
He's definitely watching. We didn't text after this game. He's on father duties. I think it's a good time that he can have something to keep his mind off of it.
I was going to say, what a great time to have a kid. Just excuses not to have to watch.
Not when he still has his Everton flag outside the front of his house.
That's a tough look.
Yikes.
One thing I will say is, like, Trossard only scores when he comes off the bench, right? Like, I feel like he always scores, like, second half off the bench, whatever it is. Like, I don't know.
He's a great sub. Like, he's so dynamic. We said it last year. Like, it's a great signing by them, and if he can accept that role, he's going to be he can be a major player for them for the next 5 years.
Mike, I'll ask you that. Oh, go ahead, Dylan. My bad.
Well, no, it's fine. I based off that though, like, because before you guys told me I'm an idiot, I had a point that I was gonna make, and it had to do with Everton parking the bus. Are you concerned though for Arsenal that it was that hard for them to break down, or no, that's just what it's like to go against that type of team? Or are we worried that there's a lack of goals coming from Arsenal or way too late in the game that this heroics is going to run out like the Minnesota Vikings and they're going to fall off?
Yeah.
Do you want me to
Boom
answer?
roasted. You can answer. I just, I don't want you to give a take that we said last year, so I just want to make sure you're prepared.
Don't worry, mine are always fresh. Anyway, I don't think they've beaten Everton at Goodison Park for, it was years, right?
Since Wenger, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean...
We know this.
If you're looking at that, then I wouldn't be too worried about it since they don't ever really win there and they just won there. I do kind of think they are figuring shit out, and I do kind of think Arteta has taken one of Pep's worst qualities as a coach.
Swapping out goalkeepers?
I think he overthinks things a lot.
Probably. I will say this in defense of Arsenal, like, Man City struggled to break down the Sheffield defense a couple weeks back. Like, when people play 13 people behind the ball, it's just hard to score. Good teams usually do, so it's like, what are you going to do? But I do think Everton is the third worst team. I just think that's a fact anymore. Nottingham won, Burnley won, Hudson-Odoi for Nottingham Forest. You told me this, Michael, already left my brain cells. I don't even remember. Amdouani with the goal for Burnley. Amdouni, that's the one. I want to know this first and foremost. Burnley, Michael, I know you said Nottingham Forest sneaky good. Do we have a little bit more respect for Burnley because now they've played someone that's kind of at their level?
No, because Nottingham Forest played like shit going forward. They were so bad. They created nothing. They have all this attacking talent that did not do anything. Awoniyi was an absolute monster up top, holding the ball up, winning headers, doing what he does. I don't think there was, apart from the Callum Hudson goal, which was an absolute fucking banger, by the way. It was Morgan Gibbs-White was not there today. Elenga was not there today. It was bad in the final third. I think Burnley kind of changed their tactics a little bit, and they started Brownhill, who's I think probably their best player. And their goals were good. The one got called for handball, but I don't think they're in trouble either. I think they've had a tough start to the season. I think they're better than a lot of teams. I think they're kind of that Fulham level right now. But I think this is more like Nottingham Forest did not play very well.
Yeah. Dylan, did you get to watch this?
Yeah.
Okay. Then this question will be good for you. How do you feel the next time Burnley or when Burnley and Wolves play?
I think it's going to be a fun game, and I think that it could go either way because Burnley's clearly going to attack us, and we are going to counter, and it's just a matter if we can finish when we can and hold tight at the back. Because, I have an opposite view of what Michael just said, where I think the City Ground is a tough place to play, and I think the fact that was a 1-1 tie that, honestly, I think it was a harsh handball, should have been probably 2-1, is a very good sign for Burnley in the fact that they can play how they played last year against probably teams 13 and down and have some success on the road. So I don't think it's a gimme when I'm looking at. Nothing is for the Wolves, to be honest, but that's a team that I think it could go it's probably gonna be a 1-1 tie.
Yeah, I'm still interested in learning more about Burnley. I don't think this game told me as much as I wanted. Nick, I'll hold off on you because I feel like I want to get more of your take on Tottenham. I will say this to end it. Lyle Foster, MMA called. Go ahead, join. That was fucking wild. Just an absolute elbow to the chest. Like, red card, out of here.
Fucking rocked him.
Yeah, dude, no remorse for life. All right, Tottenham 2, Sheffield 1. Sheffield with the first goal with Hammer in the 73rd. Richarlison, 90 plus 8. Kulusevski, 90 plus 10. Big win by... Did Newcastle... Did Tottenham Hotspur win this game, or did Sheffield United lose this game? Nick?
Depends who you ask, probably. But...
What a political answer.
If you ask Paul Higginbottom, I think you know where that's coming from. But
Oh, I don't think so. I think he was very.
He was fine.
He was like this. It has nothing to do with the result. Like,
right.
Et cetera, et cetera.
No,
also,
you're
real
right.
Quick,
no, you're
real
right.
quick. I want to make sure everyone does know that we know ball. It's Paul Heckingbottom, not Higginbottom.
Sorry, I'm thinking of Danny Higginbottom from.
Yes.
Sorry.
You're fusing people.
I wrote his name down so I could look at it when I said it, and I just obviously didn't look at it when there. I think the one. Here's a quick question. Over under on the fine. What's do we think over £30,000?
Over.
Yeah.
We talking six figures? You think?
I think Virgil got $100K for telling the ref he's a fucking joke. I think that has to be worse, right?
I think Verge makes a little bit more money than Paul Heckingbottom. Just want to throw that one out there.
Do you think they take that into consideration?
Probably.
Yeah.
It's going to be a percentage of your salary.
Okay.
Well,
it's
real
a bigger
quick,
percentage of his than Virgil's, but it might not be as much.
Michael or Nick, whoever knows it better, like, explain why that is. Not everyone probably knows that this dude went fucking wild, like crazy.
Oh, I've watched the video like 3 times. He just absolutely said that the refs as a whole kept. I love when he says they're nice. Like, these guys are nice guys. Like, very nice. They have no fucking idea. He didn't cuss. He says they have absolutely no clue how the game is played. Zero idea. Basically, like, talking about, why they do stuff, why they're focusing on certain things and, like, how it's affecting the game, and, like, telling him to play a certain way because he can't play the way he wants to, et cetera, et cetera. It is, like, for the people who do listen, if you haven't seen it, just type in his last name. I'm sure it's, like, the only thing that comes up right now. But he just goes off on him.
Yeah. Nick, back to you, though. Like, thoughts on Tottenham, thoughts on Sheffield?
I think I do love the fact that this happened. Like, hopefully something like this. I think Tottenham ended up winning it because, I mean, they were going at him nonstop. I mean, they were relentless. I think that definitely the lame double yellow, the second yellow on McBurney was really, really soft. And I think that definitely obviously had a significant impact on that. But, I mean, how many times have managers said, we didn't lose the game, or something like that? We didn't lose the game, we just ran out of time. Like, that was the definition of, well, what do you do when you get an extra? Because last year, that game's, 5 minutes? Now they play an extra 10 or 12. Like, that was awesome. Just watching it, that was freaking exhilarating. But I think that the Spurs, dude, Spurs are legit. Like, I think that you can't, as I said before, give Spurs with Dudes of the Week and Harry Kane, addition by subtraction, and it's not like Harry Kane was obviously a bad egg or anything like that. It's just, they're freer. They're able to play more free. And I love it. I hate that I love the fact that the Spurs look freaking awesome, and they kind of scare me. They very much scare me. Like, I think that they can be a legitimate top 3 candidate.
Yeah, very good. Dylan, let me get your thoughts before we jump into the 3-1s.
I think against big teams, the Spurs will be fun to watch. I think if there's one thing that came out of this game, though, is, they had a ton of opportunities, but it took them so long to break it down that I think the way that Ange Ball plays is more also on the counter. And when you have a team that's sitting back the entire time, they need to figure out how to actually break that down before the 90th minute. So I think it was an awesome win. I just think it's something they need to look out for.
Yeah, sounds like the perfect recipe to beat City later this year. Michael, go quick so we can keep the thing moving.
To something you said earlier about the Everton being the third worst team, I actually think they're the second worst team. I think Sheffield United are going to score more goals. I think they're a better team. I think they're still going to go down, but I do think they're better than I thought they were.
Love it. All right, we got 3-3-1 games. They had a unique twist to them, a unique turn to them. Most of them had the team that wasn't supposed to win score early. Actually, all three did. I don't know why I'm talking this way. We'll start with West Ham 1, Manchester City 3. James Ward-Prowse in the 36th. Opens the scoring for the Hammers. Doku in the 46th ties it up. Bernardo Silva in the 76th gives City a 2-1 lead. Erling Haaland, not to be denied, gets the third goal for a 3-1 win. Wolves 1, Liverpool 3. Hwang in the 7th minute opens the scoring for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Also woke up Dylan's wife when he screamed about the goal. So I heard this weekend. Gakpo in the 55th tied it up. Robertson, that looks so weird on the score sheet. I'm not going to lie to you. Robertson in the 85th with the second goal, and then No Bueno with the own goal in the 90th +1. Aston Villa 3, Palace 1. Edouard opened the scoring for Palace to give them a 1-0 lead. They waited till the 87th minute, Villa did, to tie it up through Duran. Louise with the goal in 90 +8 for a pen. And then Leon Bailey, 90 +11. Nick, you had two that were close to getting your bold prediction done this week. 3-1 win for Villa. Let's start with Villa Palace. Palace always a really, really tough team to predict. They're perpetually mid-table. I know that we've been really, really high on Villa. Does this sway that? Michael, I think that you've been kind of the most outspoken about that. How do you feel about Villa in this type of game?
I think I didn't get to watch like these actual games, but I do think it's kind of like a firepower thing. I think they have so many good players. Watkins, Douglas Luiz, Diaby is crazy. I mean, he's so good. Tielemans coming off the bench or starting, like either way, it's unbelievable. I think it just kind of was a flood. That being said, they shouldn't have had the penalty 100% in two different ways. I don't think it was a penalty, for one. And two, Diaby went over the line on the penalty. So it should have been it's not a retake, right? If the team whose penalty it is, a guy crosses the line before the penalty is kicked, it just cancels it, right?
Yes.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess if you're looking 3-1, they still would have won the game, but like maybe not, obviously, because they were winning at the point they scored the third goal. But I still think they're really good. I think they're better than Palace. I think this would have been a real bad loss if they had lost 1-0 or even tied 1-1. I think that's still not very good.
Yeah, I totally agree. Before we jump into Wolves, Dylan, Nick, anything to add?
This is literally the one game I don't think I saw, so okay. I can't add much.
City good without their manager. Palace not good without their manager.
Very, very fair point. Very fair point. Patrick McCarthy couldn't get a dub for the Eagles. Dylan, let's go to you. Wolves with scored too early lead on Liverpool in the younger brother derby. What are your thoughts coming out of this one? And I'll go to Michael.
I saw that there's been some experimenting with like rule changes to try and shorten the game a little bit and whatnot. I'm very pro that because we're probably one of the better first half teams in the Premier League. We just don't know how to do it for 90 minutes is the problem. And unfortunately this time we lost the game because Gary O'Neill got completely outclassed at halftime by Klopp and the tactics that he did, which I don't know if Michael agrees or not. But the fact that we were making McAllister look like a baby back bitch the entire first half, and then the way that Klopp adjusted by bringing Diaz on and moving him up to not allow our forwards to actually play how they were, I think was something that hopefully Gary Neal can figure out, that he can't just stay complacent when we're playing a Big Six club and we're up 1-0. So I thought we'd get a point at one and try and steal something there, but it's not a game I expected to win. If we lose next week, I'll start panicking a little bit more. But at the moment, I don't know, if we can get 45 minutes and turn it into 90, I actually think we can be a problem to come in 12th place.
Totally agree. Michael, your boys come back, get the dub.
I 100% agree with what Dylan said. I also think it's like McAllister was getting kind of worked in the midfield, and then you're bringing on a guy who like obviously should have been starting the game. He's probably one of our best players, absolute playmaker. Once he came on, it kind of just shifted everything. And then again, like, didn't get a goal, but Nunez going up top just does a bunch of stuff. I'm glad Gakpo got the goal that he got. And then I think Salah is just, really fucking good.
Why does Darwin not start? Because, like, when he came on, that's when I was actually scared of you guys, to be completely honest.
I think it's because... Well, so the South American players, like, played Thursday.
Oh, okay.
And then they just got back. Like, that's why Diaz didn't play either. So, like, he sat both of them, I'm pretty sure. But sometimes he doesn't play, I think, because Klopp he doesn't do kind of exactly what Klopp wants. And that's what I was saying, like, a couple weeks ago. I think you just have to take that he's going to, like, fuck around a little bit with the, like, positives that he brings. Because I agree. I think most people would say when he's running at them, it's scary. Or if he's running behind, it's scary. But, yeah, I think, it's like finding a balance. Like, you obviously have a bunch of good players. Him or Gakpo's not going to play, and I think Gakpo's really good. And I don't think he's, like, the midfield type. I think he wants to play up top. So, obviously there's going to be, like, changing a lot. But I think right now it would have been Darwin had they not played, like, on Thursday.
One thing I want to ask before we jump into West Ham City, Michael, no Verge, no Trent, and Konate for only, 14 minutes or so. Are you impressed that the defense played as well as it did?
No,
outside of that 7th minute goal?
Yeah, well, so the first half was obviously... I think we got worked the first half, and I think that's what Dylan was saying.
Yeah.
I don't think... It's so hard to be like Gerald Kwanzaa is like so good because like he did have a good game and he has had 2 good games before he's like been playing and stuff like that. I think like this game you see kind of how important, even though at times he is a defensive liability, like Trent is one of, if not our most important player. He makes the transition from the defense to the front line like so much easier, so much better. I'm impressed with Joe Gomez, and I love Joel Matip, but I think he's like the one. Like, you maybe invest in Kwanzaa, Joe Gomez sticks around and because he can play right back, center back, and then I think Matip is, the 5th down the list at this point.
Yeah. All right, West Ham with a opening goal by James Ward-Prowse. City come back with Doku, Silva, and Holland. Look, I don't know. Like they're just really, really good. I'm really impressed by Doku. Julian Alvarez had 2 assists. I saw that the EAFC ratings came out, and Julian Alvarez is like rated, I think like 78 or something like that. The guy's totally underrated. Backline still is figuring itself out. I do love that we play a 3-2-3-2. So, Michael, you're smirking. Any comments?
It's just funny, like those EAFC ratings are like so very important.
I just think it's funny. Like it's kind of weird that it's like you saw this guy play for now a World Cup, a season, and these opening games, and there was some player that he was only like 2 behind. It was like Kai Havertz or something, and you're just sitting here like, what the hell is this? Who makes this game? Like it's kind of crazy.
Okay, but this is not meant to be because I saw like the top ratings in the Prem. Like on FOTMob or whatever, and this is, I 100% I'm not meaning to like take a dig at Nick here, but like Casemiro's like still an 88 or something. That's crazy. I mean that's just insane. Like he was unbelievable. He's done like incredible things, but like to be at this point like still rated that high is you just have to do a couple good things and they'll never drop you. I don't think.
I'm sure Nick in a minute will totally agree with you once we start talking about Man United too.
Yeah, I just didn't want it to seem like I was just like fucking going at him or anything.
Why would I be offended when you state facts? Like it's just like
It's okay.
Come on, I take when you guys tell me I'm a very rational United fan. You know the sense of pride that gives me. Like I know what I see.
Dylan will agree with me. Week 5 is way too early to start the Sorry Nick campaign. But anyway,
it went across. It went across in my head, that whole thing. Like, guys, stop apologizing, please.
Anyway, I mean, the only other thing I wanted to say about this one is JWP actually does look like he's always worn a West Ham jersey, and I never thought that would be possible. Like, because he's always worn a Southampton jersey, but it fits him well. There's so many players on the West Ham team I actually really like. That was a tough game for sure.
I have a hot take I'd like to put.
Give it to me. Give it to us.
After watching this and watching what happened, I don't think Man City loses a game this year, and we have a new.
All right, that was really mean. That was really, really mean.
You can book
wait. Hold on. Let me just say though, the last Man City bold prediction we had was that they wouldn't give up a goal until October 8th, and since that they've given up a goal every game.
Yeah, exactly. Really mean by Dylan.
Just put it in the books.
Mean-hearted by Dylan.
You really want me to put it in there?
If it means they'll lose, yes.
Okay. Booking it.
All right, game of the week. Nick, you've avoided the Undertaker for long enough here. Brighton 3, Manchester United 1. I'm not going to be able to pronounce this Manchester United score. I think it's Mejbri. Is that correct? Do you know?
He goes by Hannibal.
Oh, hell yes. My guy.
So much
All right,
easier.
Perfect. Hannibal. Yeah, well, but it's also a dope name. You got to take the wins where you can as a United fan, I think, right now. Welbeck in the 20th, that also stings to open the scoring for Brighton. Pascal Gross in the 53rd, and then Pedro in the 71st give a 3-0 lead for Brighton. 2 minutes later, Hannibal. Love it. I love that. Hannibal with a goal for Man United. All is going wrong at Old Trafford. It's kind of crazy that this game was there. I don't think if you ask anyone in the past 10 years if they'd lose to Brighton at Old Trafford, they'd be like, you're crazy. Nick, the floor is yours, my friend.
Why? Whatever I say is just wrong. It's just wrong.
Do you think Man United's good?
No.
See, so you're right. There you go.
I'm a little upset that I'm a little upset that I bet with what I thought was the smart play, but I still was with my heart. I knew deep down this was going to happen, and I could have had my second 10-0 week. I was so close, but dude, I just. The Hannibal goal got me excited because I'm looking at all these injuries, and I'm like, he has to play other people. He has to. Maybe he's taking Casemiro off because we're playing Bayern midweek. There's no way he's rotating, his inexperienced guys in on Wednesday. But, we have all these injuries, which is definitely not helping because our defense is porous, to say, to be polite about it. And at this point, why don't you put Hannibal back there next to somebody experienced? He's been touted in the academy for the last 4 or 5 years as one of the best central midfielders we've had in recent memory coming through the academy. The other kid, I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm going to give Michael the opportunity to make fun of me, who got injured in preseason. He's supposed to be a stud too. Casemiro looks awful. Absolutely atrocious. He's moving like a guy that's 37 years old and has 3 herniated discs. Me. So I think
Nick Tucker out there.
Yeah. And it's hey, you know what? And it had 3 bangers. We got dominated. This should be. This is obviously a marquee matchup. Brighton is clearly legit, but to get absolutely dominated in every single statistic. Where I was looking at, you are outpassed by almost 200 goals, or passes, excuse me. accurate passes is almost 200 passes again. You had your accuracy in your passes. It's everything. Absolutely everything. They are... I don't know anymore. Like this, the only thing that comes to mind is if this was me as the coach, because this has happened many times in my baseball coaching career, this is what we call the 0-0 speech. You go in, you freak out after the game. The next day, you go to practice. All right, boys, we're 0-0. We're going to have a new, fresh start to the season. Because that's the only way I can think about it going. Because it's a bad stretches happen, but when they happen at the beginning of the season, it's just so much worse. Like, this could happen in February, and it's like, all right, they right the ship. But when it happens to start the season, and we're not defending, but I want to end on a positive note. Rasmus Højlund, I am in love with that guy. Like, I think that Rashford doesn't realize he has someone he can actually play with up there. And he can go on. Rashford should be able to go put up 15 goals and 15 assists this year. Like, he should have one of those seasons where he's doing a little bit of everything. And did I take some joy out of Old Trafford? Absolutely boo-birding the absolute daylights out of Tony. Because when... did you see Ten Hag tried to spin it like it was a compliment to Højlund, like they wanted him to keep playing? Did you guys see that or no?
I did, but
yeah.
I kind of agreed with it. Maybe
I think he was spin zoning the daylights out of it because that was a straight up. It was a boo for taking him off, which he needs to. He's just coming back from injury. But yeah. if it wasn't Tony, if it was someone else, like it was Tony, and I did get some joy out of that one. But
yeah.
We got to figure it out. I mean, we got to go out and we have to win this week. Like, if you want to talk about a must-win early in the season, got
to beat Burnley.
Not even beat Burnley. You got to put up 3 or 4 goals. You have to, which is not going to happen, but you have to.
Embrace debate on this one, Nick. Do you think Erik Ten Hag would have been better off to treat maybe Jadon Sancho with the same respect he treated Højlund to spin zone some of this stuff?
I think he did last year, and I think that Jaden's just kind of a little bit a crybaby. I think you know what? I'll say it, I really don't care. I think he's a typical Gen Zer.
As someone who has the most experience with Gen Zers, I will allow Nick to say that and let that slide. Although, please, Gen Zers, watch our TikToks. Look. The road's not that easy coming up because of Champions League too. Like it's going to be interesting.
Oh, I am fully expecting a bloodbath on Wednesday. Like, I'm so happy that I have a game that I can't watch the game. Like, I'm so scared to check my phone that day.
It's not going to be that bad.
Yeah, I think Bayern has some issues too.
Yeah,
Bayern is coached by Thomas Tuchel.
Yes.
Champions League winner Thomas Tuchel.
Insane to say that out loud, but yes, I guess true.
Yeah, I'm self-aware. Michael Dillon, anything to add? Pro Brighton, negative Man United.
Dylan, go first.
I was just gonna say Brighton's good.
Very good.
Like,
dude, they're very good.
Like Brighton, they know what the team they are, and right now they're not scared of anyone, and they're fun to watch. I hope they get top 4.
They're so fun. I think they very well could. I saw a tweet, Nick, and I want to just get your opinion on it. If you took the jersey numbers off these players, you didn't know who they were, and you just watched them play that game, would you be able to tell me who the coach was?
Yeah, Ole.
Was it Ole? Was it... So, but I'm saying, I think the point of it is, like, it doesn't look any different than what it has previously. And I think, to Man United's credit, and hopefully, like, a positive thing for them, I think Amrabat will be really good for you, because I think he'll take a lot of the running, specifically the running from Casemiro, because he's an absolute workhorse. And I think it'll let Bruno kind of just stay up top where he's, obviously the best. But right now, if you're not booting the ball to Rashford on the left, you don't have an offense. You have no offense. And
I agree.
again, I think if Højlund like turns out to be, the player people think he is, but at the same time, like, it's not like he was absolutely lighting it up at Atalanta either. Like, he had like 9 goals in the league, at least. I don't know about other than that. And again, it's
so many goals.
It's a completely different system, and I'm just saying, it's like, it's not like he had like 20. And
Dylan's
you're
like,
getting...
I kill for 9 goals. I kill for 9 goals right now.
But what I'm saying is, like, it's the same thing I have with Chelsea, and then we can get into that point, John, that Nick brought up earlier.
Yeah.
You're saying Nick Jackson, and then you're saying Rasmus Højlund, and you're also looking at it, Victor Osimhen was there. And Napoli were open about how no one came for him. And there was a big price tag, but, like, both you guys have spent money, and people spend money, clubs spend money and stuff like that, and, like, that price tag isn't ludicrous per se, but I mean, Victor Osimhen, like, polished striker, like, he would have been the guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you guys are going to do if those guys don't work out. It's going to be back to the drawing board again. 4 years ago.
And what kills me is my one friend texted me. We were talking after the game, and he's like, "Bruno looks like a mess." Or I was like, "Dude, Bruno's fine. Like, he is I was having a flashback to a few years ago where everyone was shitting on Pogba, but it's like Pogba's playing the 6, the 8, and the 10, and he had no help. Like, Casemiro's getting run all over. Eriksen just looks like his hairline, old as hell.
He looks bad too. He looks bad.
And Bruno isn't. He isn't. And Bruno's running around like a freaking psycho, trying to play holding mid, trying to play cam. Like, he's trying to, like, do everything he possibly can, which is, he's doing more, which is actually worse. Like, he needs less.
He was that center back at one point.
Yeah, like, it's. There's some people you can't put blame on. I don't think you can. And Bruno is one of those guys. Like, he's trying. Yeah.
I hate Bruno Fernandes. You know that. He's your best player. It's not close.
I
don't even think he's better than Rashford. I think so much of Rashford's success is based on how well Bruno Fernandes is playing, that if you take him out of the team, you might as well not play with somebody up top. Like Rashford is completely disconnected from the team if he doesn't play.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Nick, I'll take your question, run with it first, then we'll go down the line, do it quickly. Chelsea or Man United, who's worse off right now? I will say this. From a fan's perspective, interacting with other fans, you guys aren't deluded. From what I've seen, I'm sure I can find some chat room or some forum somewhere where a Man United fan will say some of the same shit as a Chelsea fan.
Let me just, real quick, you do search out the Chelsea people, though, because you don't
seek
like
out?
Chelsea.
Yeah.
Search out, seek out, whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, it's because it's in your view more.
Yeah,
more
no, for sure. But to that point, like, you guys have a injury list that is pretty close to like, it's 8 people, and of those 8 people, there's probably 6 in there that are gonna be able to play. Like, I don't see Man United podcast posting, we have a starting 11 that are injured. Like, bullshit. Like, I think that at the very least, a lot of the anger with this team is directed at the right place. And it's like, Erik Ten Hag, sometimes I don't think knows what he's doing. And it's crazy to say that because I thought last year I was pretty impressed with him. But, like, I don't know. I'd rather be you guys than Chelsea because I also think there's no idea of where they're going. And the person that's pulling the strings on the money and making the purchases is literally seeing who's trending on Twitter and then trying to buy him. So, like, that's how it is. Dylan, I'll go to you next since we didn't talk that much this one.
So, when this question came up, I thought I feel like these teams are in the process of, like, honestly, it's like it's Pokemon, where Chelsea, hear me out. Chelsea and United are basically Charmander right now. And
I wanted so badly before you keep going. I wanted to yell out, "Who's that center back?" And but go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
But they're literally Charmander trying to evolve to literally where, like, Charmeleon is probably Brighton, where they'd like to be right now, competing and actually being top 4, to eventually become a Charizard which obviously is City, but in this case, the blueprint they're following is to be where Arsenal's at with all their young players. And that's like where I think they're doing it. They're just doing it extremely poorly to the point where, to answer the question, like, I think they're both in trouble, but I would say Chelsea's more in trouble mostly for the fact that you have 8-year contracts on guys that haven't proven that they can actually do it. And what happens if this actually doesn't work out? And also, will they have the patience to keep Poch around if what we think is going to happen in December goes as poorly as it does, to where they're just going to keep going in the same cycle? And that's not to put United on. I don't want to give United a pass because, like, if they don't get it sorted either, who are they getting to come coach a team that's going to be revolutionary? Like, it's just something that ultimately money doesn't buy you happiness unless you have a public financial institution from a country to back you at this point. But, like,
Also known as a PIF.
Yeah, I know. I just felt like saying it out completely wrong because, you know, that's me. But I don't know. I think United is also in trouble, and you guys will try to evolve one day, but it's just not happening right now.
Michael, what do you got here before we let Nick finish it off?
I would rather be United for sure. Just because, kind of a lot of the same stuff Dylan is saying. On the field, like, it's concerning for United because, like, you thought it was going to, like, beginning of the season, you're optimistic, you think it's going to be better. Beginning of the season for Chelsea, you still don't know because, like, all these guys have, you know, whatever. Again, to Dylan's point, the thing with Chelsea is, you know, I have a friend who's a Chelsea fan who is already talking about getting Osimhen in the summer. And I'm like, brother, you just spent all this money on Nick Jackson. You're done with him already. Chelsea will never end. That cycle of that type of, like, buying and how they treat the players and stuff will never end. I don't think United are like that as much, but I do think because they don't spend to that degree, and they spend more, like, on individual players and stuff, if it doesn't go well, I don't know what you do next. Like, I don't know who you're getting rid of. I don't think you're firing Ten Hag. So I don't know what the plan is if United fails. I know what the plan is for Chelsea if they fail or succeed. So,
yeah. Nick, finish us off and tell us why you're going to be sending late night texts to Ralph Ragnick.
Oh, geez, Ragnarok. Yeah. The Armageddon of Man United. It's just frustrating. Like, because, as you're all saying, like, I don't know. It's almost like when you give a patient too many prescriptions, it just makes everything worse, and you don't know what the actual problem is anymore. Like, I just don't know what it is. Like, you just keep giving. I don't know. It's another Scrubs reference. That's where I learned about. That's where I got all my medical advice from.
We have a pharmacist on the pod, but, you know, let's go with the Scrubs reference.
Yeah, you know, it's
accurate.
Yeah,
right.
But I just don't know where to. I'm trying to find glimmers of hope to hold on. I just don't know when it's like. When is this going to turn around? Like, I could totally see us losing to Burnley. Like, I could see this, and I think you guys are right. They're not going to get rid. You can't get rid of Ten Hag because who you bringing in, and then, like, and then what? All these grand plans. You're sitting down in 10, 12, 14. I'm like 2 or 3 weeks away from just being like a completely miserable human being in this realm of my life. Like watching it and just being incredibly grumpy and like. It's just really frustrating because I don't see it getting better anytime soon.
I hate you all.
Sorry, Dylan.
Like, you don't see me bitching like this when I'm the only one who actually might be. I'm the only one who might actually be going down this year, and I'm still trying to have an optimistic spin. And you're just like, we're gonna come in 8th. Life sucks.
I'm always done. The optimist, Dylan. I don't want to be it right now. I'm always the optimist. I don't want to be it right now.
We're going to start the Sorry Dylan campaign on teams that aren't even his when we complain. But, Nick, on another note, maybe life ebbs and life flows. There's a yin and a yang to everything. Because United is playing so bad, that means that you are predicting so well. Let's get into our team predictions here. I will remind everyone. We had 3 people 9-1, 1 person 8-2. We know ball. Just don't even question it. We know it. Michael is still in the lead. He went 9-1 last week. Back-to-back 9-1, which might be more impressive than 10-0. Who's to say? 38-11 for the year. I know. 38-11 for the year. Nick still in second, 35-14 for the year. He went 9-1 last week as well. I'm in third, 34-15 on the year, 9-1 last week, and Dylan 8-2 last week, 29-20. Does the bold prediction need to be that we're all going to finish 20 games over 500?
Stop touching
I don't know.
the money. Stop touching the money.
I literally fucking groped the money last weekend, and look what happened.
Yeah, that's why I'm shouting from the rooftops here.
I can tell you right now, because I have a 9-game cushion, I have some fun picks coming our way.
Dylan still has not learned one bit. All right, let's get into it then. Dylan, we'll start with you. First game of the week is Crystal Palace hosting Fulham. Who do you got in this one?
I think we know how I feel about Fulham, so give me Palace.
Palace for Dylan. Michael.
Palace as well.
Nick.
Palace at home. You got to take them.
I got a draw, and more to come on that soon. Game number 2, Luton Town hosting Wolves. Must win. Not must win, but a big 6-pointer for Dylan. I started you off on the last one, but I'm going to go back-to-back. An unheard of tactic here on picking games. Dylan, you got your guys in this one?
It will be a tie.
Damn. Man.
I wanted to take Luton because we know how I really do this, but...
Yeah.
That's basically Dylan taking a win.
Yeah,
exactly.
Me saying a tie is a win.
Nick, who you got?
I'm taking the Wolves.
Michael?
I had to think hard about this one. I looked at some underlying stats. This is a Wolves game every time.
Yeah, I got Wolves too. Hopefully that gives Dylan confidence. Man City at Forest. I got City. Michael?
City. Why'd you ask me?
Nick, well, because I'm at some point going to have a graphic where it pops up kind of like Thursday Night Football. So I've been working on that, so it's nice to have people say it. Nick, who you got?
Yeah, okay.
City.
Check us out on YouTube. Nick, you got City?
City.
Dylan?
The Citizens.
Yep. Brentford hosting Everton. Michael, you think Everton's actually the second worst team. Who do you got in this one?
Brentford, I think Thomas Frank, top 5 coach in the Prem, maybe top 3.
Nick?
I have Brentford as well.
Dylan?
Buzz.
Yeah, I got Brentford. Also, Burnley hosting the Man United that we just belabored upon for the past 25 minutes, but it was great content, to be totally honest with you. Nick, big game for you. You said it's must win. Who you got?
I'm taking United, but I'm ready to have my heart broken again.
Dylan?
I'll support you, Nick. I'll take United.
Thanks, buddy.
I don't believe in them at all, but...
I don't either, but, what kind of fan would I be?
I got a draw. Just because I'm rolling on vapors here, and I got a big cushion, Dylan, so I'm getting a little creative as well. Michael, who you got?
Manchester United.
Alrighty. Arsenal, Tottenham, game of the week, North London derby. Spurs versus Gooners. Dylan, who is winning the game of the week, match week 6, North London derby?
I'm going to kickstart my table prediction. I think the counter kills Arsenal. Tottenham wins.
Dude, I think this is going to be an interesting game. I think it's closer than we've seen in a while. I'm going to still take Arsenal because my brain's broken on Arteta, but I like your pick. I think there's no wrong pick on this one. Michael, who you got?
I agree with Dylan. I think the counter is going to crush Arsenal. I do, however, think Spurs still not very good defensively. I think this is a draw.
Ooh. Nick. Nick, you look sad, bro. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's Monday, and United sucks, and I had to go to the grocery store. It's not a good Monday. I'm taking a draw, and I agree with Michael. I'm calling like a 3-3 draw. I'm calling like some wild, exciting
The
stuff.
over. I think the over is big on this.
Yeah.
Bet the over. All right, Brighton, Bournemouth. I got Brighton. I got the Gauls. I think everyone on this pod is on the consensus. Very good team. Michael, who you got?
Brighton. I so badly want Bournemouth to win a game because I think they're really good. But it's Brighton. Brighton are just...
I'm with you on Bournemouth. I think they're better than what people think. Nick, who you got?
Yeah, I got Brighton. Why even bother asking?
Dylan?
Thank you.
I'll be taking Brighton because Bournemouth doesn't need to win any games. I think they're good, but until they prove they can win games, let's keep them not doing that.
Yeah, that's self-preservation. I like that.
Hey,
Chelsea.
they did get you the Chelsea one, though.
They didn't win.
They got the tie, though. We're all
Chelsea.
happy about a Chelsea tie. Come on.
True. Chelsea Villa. Michael, we got the Liverpool game after this, so I'll go to Nick for this one. Chelsea Villa, who you got in this?
I want to take Villa, but it's at home. You got to think Chelsea responds a little bit. It's going to be ugly, but I think Chelsea wins.
Dylan?
Chelsea just lost at home 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. Give me Villa.
Oh.
I got Villa too. If I'm gonna talk the talk, I'm gonna walk the walk as well. I got Villa. Michael, who you got?
Villa not super good away. Chelsea not super good in general. I got a draw.
Probably safe. Also, my brain just shut off there. Never mind. Michael
Really did. Holy shit.
Damn. I just was had to reboot right there. Michael, Liverpool hosting West Ham. Who you got in this one?
If this is at West Ham, I think this is like real big implication game. I think if we don't win this game, I think it's a bad look. I think we're gonna win.
Yeah. Nick?
Yeah, I agree. Liverpool. I think this is played in London, different game, but I think Liverpool will take this to the bank.
Dylan?
Liverpool. They're good.
Yeah, I got Liverpool as well. And then last game of the match week, Sheffield United is hosting Newcastle. Dylan, take us home. Who do you got?
I have Newcastle.
I think Newcastle starts a little bit of a run as well. I got Newcastle. Michael?
Newcastle.
Nick?
Yeah, I have Newcastle, and I would just like to say that this is the least confident of the week so far I've felt making picks. I think this is the first real 50 week where I feel like every pick could kind of go any direction.
Yeah, so Michael has a theory. He thinks that the first couple of weeks that we've had here are actually layups for us for the most part, and he thinks it's going to get a lot harder. Not to put words in Michael's mouth, but...
No, it's pretty much exactly what I said.
Yeah, we are abusing our power right now. But I will say this, too. After, Michael and I have done 3+ years of this. Dylan's done 2+ years of this. Nick, this is... You're kind of 2 years in now, too, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I do think there's been a few yo-yo teams, and we're pretty familiar with a lot of these teams now. I think we know where the warts are. Speaking of, let's get into betting. Dylan's Betting Corner, hosted by John Whitaker. As always, we got a weekly pod lay. We're 0 for 2 so far. Not a big deal. The first week,
Wait,
Michael...
hold on.
Hold on. No, I'm going to say it.
I'm
going to say it.
Okay.
First week, Michael totally fucked us. And this last week, we totally fucked Michael. So, all three of us missed. Michael's the only one that got it right, but that first week, Michael screwed us up. So 0 for 2 so far, but when one of these hits, you won't hear the end of it from us. It'll be crazy. Let's start off with the pod lay and then roll into Dylan's bets. Dylan, it's your segment. Start us off, first leg of the pod lay.
Can we do Champions League bets on this?
Yeah, for sure. It'll come out tomorrow.
Cool. Porto, -135.
Love it. So first leg, Porto -135. Is that game Tuesday? Does anyone know?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Damn.
It's part of my I gotta say, betting wise, this is my favorite time of year. I love betting group stage parlays in the Champions League.
How often do they hit?
I usually hit like 2 in the groups. I take 2 big ones, so it pays off.
All right. So go ahead and give us the second leg then, Nick.
I'm taking Wolves moneyline +115.
Oh, you fucking asshole.
Woo! Love it. Michael,
Dylan does not.
leg 3.
Arsenal, Tottenham, over 3.5, +125.
Love that. Bet the over. Bet the over. Arsenal Tottenham. You guys are going to be mad at me because I'm the only person that picked this, but the number was too good to walk away from. Crystal Palace versus Fulham. Draw under 1.5 plus 1,100.
Brother, why do you keep doing this?
Hold on.
Mine
What?
hit the first time, bro. Mine hit the first time.
You're saying under 1.5?
Under 1.5. It'll be a 0-0 draw.
You are shoehorning yourself
So you want-
into literally one possible outcome.
Yep. Sheffield United and Everton did the same thing, and I hit that one. I didn't know if you knew.
This is crazy.
So what's this bring us out to?
A lot. Michael, go ahead and crunch the numbers for me while
I got
Dylan
it.
goes
Just give me a second.
into his bets. So that's the third parlay. Look, I will say this. I'm trying to get us big money early. If we don't hit it on this one, I promise to be a little bit more conservative with my leg. And then pause. That was
Wait.
kind of weird.
Just real quick, you said over 1.5 or under?
Under.
Are you saying 0-0 draw,
All right.
though? Because if you're doing under 1.5, why not just do under 1/2 and get us better odds?
Yeah, it didn't give me that option on DraftKings.
You can just make
So.
a parlay.
But just do what I said.
Okay.
All right, Dylan.
We're
Dylan, give us
leaving
your
money
bets.
on the table. We're leaving money on the table. What is happening?
All right, exact score for Crystal Palace Fulham 0-0. If you can find that one, throw that one in there because I'm sure it's less. Or sure it's more.
Way easier to
There
find.
you go. This is great podcasting. Dylan, go through your bets. I got one parlay for the pod too, but go through your bets now.
So recapping last week, we hit our stride. We went 3-1, up 3.45 units. We're as mediocre as it comes for the year so far. Still 10-10, but we're up 1.26 units. So this kickstarted where we're going. I got 5 this week. Kind of like the board a little bit. We're going to start with Wolves Luton under 2.5 minus 115. What are you making a parlay off of this?
Oh
Nick?
no, it's plus 900 0-0 Palace Fulham.
Perfect.
I got it.
We're going to be taking Aston Villa double chance, so a win or a tie at minus 110 against Chelsea. We'll be taking Spurs, Arsenal, both teams to score, no draw at plus 100. Then we'll be taking Luton Town under on individual team corners of 4.5 minus 115. And to round it off, let's go Captain America. We will be taking AC Milan plus 160 over Newcastle tomorrow. Or today, for when you're listening.
Yeah, pod comes out Tuesday. Listen to it early. I'll send out a reminder for people to check the bet section. Winning week. That's all that matters. It was a winning week for sure. My one parlay that I'm going to do this week has a bit of a theme. It's underdog draws or underdog wins. Not underdog. Wolves not an underdog, but you get plus money, and I think they're better than Luton. Again, bullying's good in the betting world. It starts off with Wolves plus 115. I know that we mentioned it before. Michael had that part of his parlay, I believe. It is the Palace Fulham just draw, straight up draw, plus 255. And then the big one, it'll be the toughest one, but I think if my predictions are right, which they were 9-1 last week, it'll be a good one. Burnley Man United draw plus 310, 3,029. If you put $10 on it, you win $312. So there it is. Love it.
All right. So our parlay is a plus 8,458.
Love everything about that.
Yes.
10
absolutely.
to win 855.86.
Put a
Win
unit on it.
$1,600. I'm about to win $1,600 on a
All
$20 free
right.
bet.
Put a unit on it. Look, we're also on YouTube. This is obviously the podcast. You're listening to it wherever you get your podcasts, but we've been doing some numbies on YouTube. Go check us out. You also get to see our beautiful faces. You get to see Michael being giddy about Soboslai. You do get to see Nick right now being a little bit sad about Man United. And then you also usually get to see Dylan in some random jersey that he's wearing. So definitely check us out on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Dylan, get us out of here with a joke.
All right, guys. Why was the skeleton always left out of the soccer game? Because he had no body to play with. Cheers.
The NAFTAA Podcast.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.